All right, so Governor Mikey P aside for just a second. While we're at it, since we're on the subject of crooked cops, I know how much everybody loves it when I read the news to you, so let's take a look at this here. Breaking news just today. Prosecutors, Capitol cop told January 6 rioter to hide evidence. AP reports. Whoa. Hide evidence? That's extreme. Let's take a look. Washington AP, a U.S. Capitol police officer has been indicted on obstruction of justice charges after prosecutors say he helped to hide evidence of a rioter's involvement in the January 6th insurrection. The officer, Michael A. Riley, is accused of tipping off someone who participated in the riot by telling them to remove posts from Facebook that had showed the person inside the Capitol during the January 6th attack, according to court documents. Ooh, that's a conspiracy, maybe. I don't know. I'm not a jury of your peers. I don't think people like this have peers, so good luck in court. Riley, 50, appeared virtually in federal court in Washington and was released with several conditions, including that he surrender any firearms and not travel outside the U.S. without permission from a judge. He was ordered to return to court later this month. Riley, who responded to a report of a pipe bomb on January 6th, has been a Capitol police officer for about 25 years. Is this a cop we were talking about yesterday? Don't want to take the vaccine. You don't want to wear shoes. Is this the guy? But I digress. He had sent the person a message telling them that he was an officer with the police force who agrees with your political stance. That's a quote. Gross. It's a gross quote. An indictment against him says the indictment spells out how Riley sent dozens of messages to the unidentified person, encouraging them to remove incriminating photos and videos, telling them how the FBI was investigating the rioters. This sounds familiar, and we'll jump into that here in just a second, but this sounds very, very familiar to me. I can't imagine where. In a statement, U.S. Capitol Police Chief Tom Manger said the department learned of the investigation against Riley several weeks ago and placed him on administrative leave when he was arrested Friday. Manger called the indictment a very serious allegation and said the department's Office of Professional Responsibility was opening an internal investigation. His arrest and accusation that an active duty Capitol police officer was trying to obstruct the investigation into the attack is particularly notable because many of his colleagues were brutally beaten in the insurrection. The riot left dozens, agrees with the cause. Are you kidding me? The riot left dozens of police officers bloodied and bruised as the crowd of pro-Trump rioters, some armed with pipes, bats, bear spray, charged in the Capitol and quickly overrunning the overwhelmed police force. One officer was beaten and shocked with a stun gun repeatedly until he had a heart attack. Another was foaming at the mouth, screaming for help as rioters crushed him between two doors and bashed him in the head with his own weapon. Just another day of tourists at the Capitol, right? More than 600 people faced charges in the January 6th attack in which a mob loyal to the then President Donald Trump stormed the Capitol, or were they Antifa, paid by George Soros? Guess we'll never know. Oh, wait, they're in court. Battled police and tried to stop the certification of the election victory for President Joe Biden. In the days after the attack, scores of rioters flaunted their participation in social media, posts that bragged about their ability to get inside the Capitol, but then started realizing they could use as evidence and began deleting it. Associated Press review of court records has found that at least 49 defendants are accused of trying to erase incriminating photos, videos, texts from phones, social media accounts documenting their conduct as the pro-Trump mob stormed Congress and briefly interrupted the certification of Democrat Joe Biden's election victory. Experts say the efforts to scrub the social media accounts reveal a desperate willingness to manipulate evidence. Once these people realize they were in hot water, they say it can serve as a powerful proof of people's consciousness of guilt and can make it harder to negotiate plea deals and seek leniency at sentencing, you bunch of dummies. Riley told the rioter that the scene was a total S show. I'm glad you got out of there unscathed. We had over 50 officers hurt, some pretty bad, but, glad you made it, right? The officer wrote, according to the complaint. Talk about the party of law and order and back in the blue. I don't know whose side this guy's on. Oh, wait, we do. When the rioter said through the messaging that he didn't think he'd, done anything wrong, Riley responded, according to the court papers, the only thing I can see is if you went into the building and they have proof, you will be charged. You could always articulate that you had nowhere to go, but that's for the courts. So this just screams conspiracy. Later in January, after the two had discussed their love of fishing, Riley told the man to get off social media. That should have no ill effect on the case. They're arresting dozens of people a day, he wrote, according to the posting. Everyone that was in the building engaged in violent acts or destruction of property, and they're all being charged federally with felonies. Making digital content vanish is as easy as deleting content from phones, removing social media posts, or shutting down accounts. Investigators have been able to retrieve the digital content by requesting it from social media companies, even after accounts are shut down. Posts made on Facebook, Instagram, and other social media platforms are recoverable for a certain period of time. Authorities routinely ask those companies to preserve the records until they get court orders to view the posts. So if you don't think that your phone's knocking you out, where you been? Or you could just not commit crimes and don't be a terrorist. It seems like it'd be so much easier, right? Where are we at here? Despite initial criticism that the Capitol Police did not do enough to stop the rioters, Riley is the first Capitol Police officer to be charged with a crime involving the insurrection. But several current and former police officers were arrested on riot-related charges, including 2 Virginia police officers who posed for a photo during the attack. In July, authorities arrested an off-duty Drug Enforcement Administration agent accused of posing for photographs in which he flashed his DEA badge and firearm outside the Capitol during the riot. Boy, these are the kind of guys. I wonder if they're vaccinated. I'm just saying. Other law enforcement officers were investigated for their presence at the Capitol that day or at Trump's rally before the riot. In January, an AP survey of law enforcement agencies nationwide found that at least 31 officers in 12 states are being scrutinized by their supervisors for their behavior in the District of Columbia or face criminal charges for participating in the riot. In September, Capitol Police said officials had recommended disciplinary action in 6 cases after an internal review of officer behavior stemming from January 6 on the U.S. Capitol. The department's Office of Professional Responsibility had opened 38 internal investigations and was able to identify 26 of the officers involved. Police said in a statement at the time, in 20 of the cases, no wrongdoing was found. It isn't clear whether Riley was among the officers who were referred to for disciplinary action. So, I don't even think I actually caught that the first go around there. 20 of the cases found no wrongdoing. That's just weird. I mean, again, party of law and order. Are you freaking kidding me? Like, how do you even do that? How do we come to a point where even something so, well, I guess it is politicized these days, because there are those who believe that it was nothing more than left-wing terrorists. It was Antifa. It was George Soros with his magical Obama buses. It was just regular tourists, just on a regular day. It was like they were just showing them the Capitol, right? Just a normal day in Washington, D.C. Something that should not be politicized, and these officers should be investigated, and if evidence brought against them, I mean, first of all, what does it take to investigate something like this anyway? Obviously, there's got to be some sort of investigation or some sort of evidence. Otherwise, there wouldn't be an investigation. That's kind of how internal affairs works. They're not just going off of every single report, before they start making things a little more official there. But I'm getting off track here. So, speaking of crooked cops across the country, I made some promises, and let's see if we can keep them. So I found this also, lawsuit over Kenosha shootings. Police enabled armed militia. Well, this is something that we probably already knew, but let's take a little deeper dive here. This, again, breaking news, AP posted today, A man who was shot in the arm by Kyle Rittenhouse during a protest last year against police brutality in Wisconsin has filed a federal lawsuit alleging police enabled the violence by allowing an armed militia to have free run of the streets during the demonstration. Now, I actually covered this in other social media when it happened. There's posts from militia members in message boards all over Facebook. I mean, all over Facebook. Honestly, there were a lot of police officers who were posting on their own personal Facebooks, or, you know, alleged police officers posting on their own personal Facebooks in support of counter protests. And some of the crazy crap you're going to see in this article was some of this crazy crap I've seen on social media. Again, you know, maybe those were also Antifa, just posing as police officers, working in support of white supremacists and other militia groups and you know, right-wing extremist groups. Could have been George Soros, man. That guy's just everywhere. Like, how is he everywhere? He's so good. He's just so good at what he does, right? Rittenhouse shot Joseph Rosenbaum, Anthony Huber, and Gage Grosskreutz with an AR-style semi-automatic rifle during the protest in Kenosha on August 25th, 2020, after an officer shot Jacob Blake 2 days earlier. Rosenbaum and Huber died. Grosskreutz was wounded in the arm, but survived. Prosecutors have charged Rittenhouse, who was 17 at the time, with multiple counts, including homicide. He has argued he fired in self-defense after Rosenbaum and Huber attacked him, and Grosskreutz ran up to him armed with a handgun. Rittenhouse's trial is slated to begin next month. Now, Grosskreutz lawsuit filed Thursday alleges that Rittenhouse, who lived in Antioch, Illinois, just across the border there, I'm sure you've been following this stuff, so, you know, he had joined white supremacist militia members who had answered the call on social media to travel to Kenosha and protect businesses during the protest. Rittenhouse and Grosskreutz are white, so Rosenbaum and Huber. The filing maintains police knew the militia was there to hurt people, pointing to social media responses such as, and quote, counter protest, question mark, nah, I fully plan to kill looters and rioters tonight. And also, quote, armed and ready, shoot to kill tonight, end quote. The identities of the posters weren't given in the lawsuit. They were nicer than I was on Facebook. I'm just saying, if I see your trashy little name on this stuff, I'm going to show it. You know, don't be a dick. Don't be a murderous dick, specifically, right? But numerous officers saw Rittenhouse before and after the shootings, but never asked him for identification, detained him, or disarmed him, and let him walk past them, even though people were yelling that he had just shot people. And he still had his rifle slung over his chest, according to the lawsuit. You know, if lawsuit is quoted as saying, if a black man had approached police with an assault rifle, offering to patrol the streets with the police, he most likely would have been shot dead, the lawsuit said. If a black child had shot 3 citizens with an assault rifle and was seen walking away from the scene of the shooting with the assault rifle in hand while other citizens yelled he was an active shooter, he would have been shot dead. That's pretty real, bro. The lawsuit alleges Kenosha police, the Kenosha County Sheriff's Department, and the city committed multiple constitutional violations, including conspiracy to obstruct justice, equal protection, and free speech violations, and failure to intervene. They forgot to do their freaking job, bro. The filing seeks unspecified damages. Now, there's actually a video of them, you know, after he shot these people, just walking by, and he's like, I just shot somebody, you know, just let him go, tell him get out of the street. Yeah, you know, if I misspeak on that, forgive me. It's been a while. Okay, go check out the video yourself. Don't listen to me. You don't even know if I'm wearing pants, and I'm not going to tell you. Attorney Sam Hall, is that where we're at? Yep. Attorney Sam Hall, who represents Kenosha County, and Sheriff David Beth said Friday the allegations are false. He said the lawsuit fails to acknowledge that Grosskreutz was armed when he was shot by Rittenhouse, and he noted that Grosskreutz hasn't sued Rittenhouse. Hall said he will request dismissal of the case. Of course, why not? City officials didn't immediately return messages Friday, Huber's family filed a similar federal lawsuit in August alleging police facilitated the shootings. That case is pending. The protest began after a white Kenosha officer shot Blake, who was black, in the back during a domestic disturbance. Blake was wanted on a felony warrant, resisted arrest. Officer Rustin Chesky shot him after he turned toward him holding a knife. According to investigators, the shooting left Blake paralyzed from the waist down. So, yeah, wild stuff. Of course they're going to ask for it to be dismissed. They don't want something like that to go to court with a jury of their peers. That'd be crazy. Why would a cop want something like that to happen? If it doesn't get dismissed, then they'll probably request a bench trial because, or then they don't have to worry about, actually having this be an issue, right? It's just disgusting. Absolutely disgusting stuff.